right, well, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin.
I'm Tarsha.
And this is, of course, Conversations with the Crawleys, where we have conversations about faith, family, relationships, and recaps, reviews of some of our favorite TV shows, provide commentary, all that fun stuff. We got a new show for y'all. So we just started watching Atlanta's, our own channels, Ladies Who List Atlanta.
That's a lot, ain't it?
That's a lot. That's
Ladies
a mouthful.
Who List Atlanta.
Ladies Who List Atlanta. Got it. So if this is content that you enjoy, or if you just want to kind of hang around and check it out for a little while, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the like, request notifications,
and share.
And we, of course, will always see you in the comments. All right. So we normally have, on this channel, we've stuck mostly to dating relationship type shows. But this show, we thought, let's check it out.
Yeah, we're branching out.
We're stretching out a little. But also, we both are into into real estate. We're actually trying to think about some things as far as building wealth. So we thought, let's take a look at it. Let's see. It should be interesting, and it's already proving a little interesting.
Oh boy!
So we've already had the first 2 episodes.
Correct.
So we're gonna kind of combine those 2 episodes. We meet the ladies. They all have their various skills. We have some straight agents.
Correct.
We have some brokers.
Correct.
And then we have real estate attorneys.
Correct.
And it's all about, we'll see, because it's drama, it's
Atlanta.
It's Atlanta. It's a lot.
It got a lot going on.
All right. So let's kind of jump into it. The first episode, we get an introduction of everybody. They show, who is it? Crystal, the actress from Sisters.
She's purchasing a house.
She's trying to purchase a house.
Right.
Nice house.
Hey, that Atlanta market out there is looking like a lot like LA to me.
Well, yeah, and here's the thing that I know. I lived in Atlanta many years back, but Atlanta itself is, and those of you that are in Atlanta can attest, or maybe correct me, maybe it's changed since I've been there, but I know that there are some great pockets. Maybe not always in Atlanta, but on the outskirts and in some of the other areas. College Park, College Park wasn't that great when I was there, but you got a few areas there. So, but it's country living with the city vibe still, right? So you still have the access to the city, but if you need to kind of get out into the woods, get out away from folks, Atlanta's a great place to do that.
Get that southern hospitality.
Yep, something like that. And great food.
Okay.
So we have, Kira, we have Kiana.
Right.
Kira, I'm sorry.
Kira is an agent.
Right.
And she seemed to be one of the youngest agents among the bunch.
Right.
And she's really just getting her feet out there, and she's really making some deals.
Right.
So she's like the up and coming of all of them. So she's making a mark enough to be on some radar, which we'll find out about Robin, who's a broker.
Right.
And she has this great idea that's going to come about throughout the season or in the next couple of episodes.
Right. The goal that Robin has kind of put out there is, listen, we're all in Atlanta. We're successful there are successful Black women. What if we partner up rather than competing against each other? What if we build kind of a mega firm, if you will, that has everything and take over Atlanta, which supporting Black excellence.
Why not?
Why not? It's a great idea in theory, but I think part of what we'll see is, does it actually work for them?
Right. And coming against past differences. Right. I know, I want to call her Kiana. Am I saying the name right? Yep. She's also a broker within the area. And as we go along, we find out that there might be a little bit of rough waters.
No, it might be.
Might be a little bit of rough. I'm just like a little bit of rough waters going forward. We'll see how that works out. Yeah. Because then we come into where we find Crystal, who's an attorney, who's a closing attorney, and I don't know. I guess we've closed on a couple of houses, and we normally just go to the closing house,
right? Which
probably has closing attorneys. So it's interesting how they kind of bring out the closing attorney as a part of this series, because I've seen a couple other reality real estate shows, so
where the closing attorney for us, when we closed on houses, the closing attorney was not really, they may have been there, but we didn't know exactly who they were. Correct. They were just the people that were like, sign here, sign here, sign here.
Correct.
So, yes, in this dynamic, they bring, because I think of the relationship between Robin and Crystal, they bring that, and then there's some other connections. But yeah, going back to Kiana, there's this whole thing about Kiana, when she was trying to become a broker, needed to essentially house her license or put her license somewhere that, for the transition, something with the other place that she was at.
Well, pretty much it was when she was making all these decisions or they were coming about, COVID just started.
Right.
And so that means the real estate licensing office wasn't available.
Wasn't moving as fast. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So with that time frame, she needed assistance.
Right.
Yeah.
And so she reached out to Robin. Kiana reached out to Robin and was like, hey, listen, we kind of have some people in common. Right. I think her husband's friend was dating Robin or something like that. And so she was like, hey, can I just kind of house my license here for a little while?
Right.
And Robin was like, yep, for $500 a file.
And she's like, there was 27 contracts.
She's like, that's over $13,000.
She was like, was she trying to break me? And obviously we're getting on the back end. Right. We don't know how quick the conversation was.
Right.
It doesn't seem like there was a lot of communication. And from there, it was like, I'm going to hold this over Robin's head until the day she died.
Right.
And I'm like, baby, you need to let that go. Whatever you hold it against her.
Release it.
Release it.
Go.
Let it go. Don't take it to the grave.
But on Kiana's side, though, she kind of didn't deal with it just because she was like, okay, that's how you are. I'm not gonna rock with you.
Right.
So then when Robin comes up with this idea of building this super brokerage, now she's like, well, hold on, if we're gonna be in business together, when I came to you needing assistance, this is how you treated me. So now if we're talking about being a partnership, how's that gonna work?
Right.
So she let it go because it had no impact on where she was. But now I think because of what's trying to come about, now she's like, yeah, we're going to resurrect that.
I'm about to say, did she dig it up? Did she dig up the ghost?
She dug up that beef.
I was like, okay. And I was like, and decided to cook it. She's like, I'm coming so I can reject you and whatever your endeavor is. So, and we'll get into that little tiff, because even as Crystal and Robin are talking, we get introduced to them. They're supposed to be besties. Right? But they got this very weird dynamic.
Have a strange vibe.
Because me and my bestie won't be like barking and arguing back and forth to the point where it's not constructive. Right. Where it's just not giving any life, you know. And so Crystal is also a closing attorney, and Robin, and they work, it looks like in the same office and everything.
Well, they work
together, right?
That's her preferred closing agent.
Okay.
Closing attorney.
Okay. So she comes up with her like, hey, I got this great idea. I want to get all these women together. But then she tasks her like she's a secretary. Right. Now I need you to call all these people on my behalf.
I took it that, and especially as we see in the second episode, I took it that she did that because she knew that she was not going to be well received if it was just coming from Robin. Crystal was the intermediary.
But doesn't that, if you know that people got little tip with you.
But I'm just telling you, I'm explaining to you how she's thinking. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying that it's valid. I'm not saying that I would have done it that way. I'm just telling you how she's thinking that through.
Because to me, that's the best way to get it over with. If you called and say, hey, you to be my brother, and then she go off on me on the phone.
At least we
can get it out. We can get it out there. Okay, we done. Yeah. Meet me at the place.
Because Crystal, I think Crystal learned a word recently, at least as far as the filming.
She said learn a word.
As far as the filming, she learned the word trigger.
We're gonna learn. If she didn't get anything else out the psych book
in both episodes,
she went to intro to psych.
She has called Robin. She's told Robin she's triggered. Yes, Robin does go out a little bit, what have you. But yeah, it's like, okay, you done said you triggered and you keep saying it, like, okay, we get it.
Well, you're triggering me. So it's like, you might as well put trigger right up here on top of your forehead. Because you're the one that it's her to keep starting it.
Right. So there's a couple. It looks like Kira and Kiana are good friends.
Mm-hmm.
Crystal and Robin have a relationship of some sort. They're
Right,
friends, right?
right. It's supposed to be.
And then the other two ladies that we meet are Tiffany and Tiana.
Right.
And so Tiffany is another
closing attorney.
A closing attorney. And Tiana is another agent.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So we've got basically, it looks like 2 agents, 2 brokers, and 2 closing attorneys, which would, in all honesty, if it works out well, sounds like it would make a great firm, a great real estate agency or firm, what have you. But we'll see, because there's a lot of relationships that are intermingling, because Atlanta, as big as Atlanta is, Atlanta's not that big.
Right.
Right.
It's small, especially if you're talking about
in specific industries.
Correct.
Right?
And it's what we understand for realtors, there are not that many Black women in that market. So
especially when you talk about high-end or luxury real estate,
correct,
it becomes even more there's a smaller niche, if you will, a smaller group of people.
Correct.
So, kind of picking up in the second episode, we got Kira showing a condo to B. Simone, which the condo would make a great condo for a guy, because the closet, listen, in our home, my closet space, I didn't look at the closets. I was looking at my backyard. That's what I wanted, right? So our closet space is unfair if I were trying to divide it up.
I would say for you being a male, that's a nice size closet for a man.
It is.
Right.
It's a nice I have enough for my clothes. I'm good.
Right. And because of my income, my size of my closet is decent.
I'm working on getting you where the whole room will be the closet. I got you.
All right, baby. I heard that. It's on the video. It's going up on YouTube. He's working on a bigger closet for me. Bless the Lord.
Yeah, okay. But the closet, in that apartment or the condo that she showed, the view was good. It was a decent view.
It was a decent view. But you should have known that as a woman, she's going to need closet space.
Yes.
And for you to go, we passed it because it's outside of the master bedroom.
Yeah.
And it's like behind a curtain. And I'm like, it's 2 shelves.
And then here's the other thing. I'm concerned about the Atlanta school system. I'm concerned. When their first is like, okay, which direction is, I think it was south here.
You're right, was south and was north.
And then it was like, does the sun rise in the east or does it rise in the west? And then they're like, she's like, what's that? She's like, what? She's like, what? The curtain?
The curtain?
No.
No.
The concrete.
You mean the concrete? Wow. I was like, what?
I'm just a little concerned.
What? We can't tell materials? Okay. She said, you're supposed to be a realtor. She's like, I'm trying to figure out what word could you not determine is going on in this room? Why do we need to go ahead and put up index cards?
Right.
Telling us what's listed here.
Listen, all right. So needless to say, that was not a good house.
It was
a condo.
A condo, yeah.
It wasn't a good fit.
It wasn't a good fit. She need to go back.
Yeah, that as a realtor, that's probably one I would not have shown.
Not to her. No.
So then we get to have a little, we see Kiana with her husband. And she kind of runs through the scenario that she has with Robin by him.
Right.
And he's
being diplomatic,
right,
which I can see that perspective too, because right now what you're telling me is just a quick conversation.
Right.
And if she didn't have the capacity to explain it to you, she thought she was established.
Right.
We don't know how established she was in her brokerage. Maybe she did need the money.
Right.
Or she was saying, he was saying, well, maybe it was something that has occurred that you're not aware of.
Right.
But you're just going ahead and putting judgment on it.
Yeah.
Find out what it is.
Have the conversation.
That's
all we need.
That's all, because since she ain't cooking breakfast, she just come out glamming.
Well, she was on Instagram.
That's what I'm saying. She was glamming.
Yep.
And she was on Instagram. And this chef had everything going. I was trying to figure out what kind of mimosa that was, because he had some rosé or something in it. So I was like, okay, and the strawberry on the side. But it looked like chicken wings. So it was more like brunch.
Could have been chicken and waffles.
It could have been, little eggs Benedict on the side. I was checking out breakfast.
You check out breakfast. I don't care where we at. Listen.
I love breakfast.
I never have to question. I can either take her to breakfast or we can go get Mexican food. Those are the two places. Listen.
Breakfast.
All right. And then we get a little more in Kira. Kira. I keep wanting to call her Kira, but it's Kira. She takes us, basically we see where her house burned down.
Yeah, so her and her boyfriend had got this home. And they were only in a month, but she was out of town and supposedly he was out of town. And then she get a call from her neighbor that her house burned down. 5,500 square feet? Gone?
Now, I'm just curious what happened, because if y'all both not there, supposedly.
Right. And it's electro, was it something did they leave something plugged up? Because they've said in the past, like those plug-ins for the incense.
Yeah.
If you leave them in, they could cause a fire.
Possible, yes.
But I'm like, that house burn.
Like, yeah. Crispy.
So I feel for her. Now she have to continue to work, obviously, and try to rebuild her home, but now without her boyfriend. And
again, I'm dating myself, but when I saw the house, what I also thought about, because of Atlanta, if y'all remember when Left Eye from TLC, when she burned down Andre Rison's home, I was like, something in Atlanta about homes burning down, nice big homes just burning down. And because also, again, Kira and her boyfriend were not together shortly after that.
Shortly afterwards. But supposedly they were together while they were away.
Yep. So I don't know. We'll see.
So messy.
Just my thoughts. Yes, I can be messy sometimes. It's okay. I ask the questions that people may not always feel free to ask.
Oh, okay. What's on their mind?
I'm asking the question that's on your mind.
What's on their mind?
Because I know y'all was thinking that too. Y'all was looking at that like,
I was looking a little suspect.
A little suspicious.
Suspect.
All right. So then we also get to meet Tiffany, get a little better understanding about Tiffany with her husband.
Yes.
And she talks about how she went through periods of anxiety.
Right.
And trying to find balance.
Yeah.
To the point where her husband quit his job.
To take her to work.
To be with her
all day.
Hey.
I'm like, should you have stayed home and should he have worked? I mean, it looked rough.
It depends upon where the income is and what he was doing.
Yeah.
If he's in a position with his career where he can maybe step away, do freelance or something like that, and do it that way, do it.
Hey,
right?
It's a hard situation to be in. I know when you're not taking care of yourself and you're thinking of others. You're thinking of your husband. I believe she has 3 or 4 kids.
Yeah.
And you're trying to handle everything else along with continuing your own business, because that's what it sounds like she has, is her own business. And so that could take a toll on you. Yeah. So it's good that she's on the other side of that. Right. And we see how that's going to take play in the next couple of episodes.
As far as just even her connecting with Robin. And then she's teaching her son to drive that big Escalade.
They don't have any tiny cars.
Right.
But I remember like when we were teaching our son or teaching our daughter, well, I did most of the teaching of them driving. And I'm like, I remember that. Like, put the brake on. Like, because he was about to get out the car without putting it in park. And I was just like, I remember these things when you're just trying to teach a teenager how to drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you had the patience for that.
It's just fearful.
Yeah. We also see Tiffany and Tiana then meet with their spouses, and they're having a conversation. And it was kind of interesting because the guys are just sitting there like, we can't talk because y'all gonna pick up what we're talking about, but we're just gonna sit here. And then finally they're like, okay, we're gonna bring you into the conversation.
Right.
And of course, it was still about everything right now has been about this meeting that Robin has tasked Crystal to put together.
Because they don't know, because they're like, we're only hearing rumors about Robin. We don't know her personally, but the rumors they're hearing are not good.
Exactly.
And so they're like, ooh, do we really interested? But their husband's like, you know what? Why don't you just go figure out what it is, determine if that's something you're interested in.
Just have the conversation.
It's just about having a conversation.
Just talk.
And that's what they said. Like, look, you get a dinner, you get a meal, and have a good time.
Have a couple of drinks and you're good.
Right.
Just figure it out. Right.
Right.
Then we get over to Robin downtown in her niche, which is showing condos. There's a building downtown Atlanta.
Haley.
The Haley building.
Oh, the Haley building? Okay. Yeah.
Or Hadley, something like that. Hadley building.
I thought it was Heard or something.
It started with an H. The H building.
The H building.
And again, it's the view was decent.
Yes. Like downtown.
For condo.
It was $885,000 though.
No, it was 155.
It was 185,000.
185,000, yes.
What did you just say?
Well, you said 885,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was 185,000.
Yes.
Okay.
And it was like 850 square feet.
That's it. Okay. Okay. Yes.
So
I'm like, oh God, we paid like 185,000 for a house. And we had triple.
And we in Phoenix, and we got
triple the square foot. And I get a garage. You got a park across the street.
And I got a big backyard.
Whew. So I'm like, again, it's just about being close and being in the city. You're gonna pay that square right. You're gonna pay for that square footage.
And she does. And again, one of the reasons I like this show is just because I love real estate. I think real estate is a great investment. I think real estate is something that, for too often, if we can just be honest, and we do that on this show, on this channel, real estate has been something that we were, as people of color, Black people, were locked out of for so long, and could not build wealth because of redlining, things of that nature. So to see that, and Robin brings up a great point, you can have this as a starter place and build some wealth with it, and then go, and if your mate, your partner would have you, find something else bigger that's maybe a little further out and has those things, you've built some wealth so that now you have something to pass on.
Right. Because she seemed very passionate about that. And people do need a starter home. Yeah. We've had a starter home before, and yeah, it was a starter home. And then to have another opportunity
with a possum underneath.
Yes,
we weren't even in the major city in Oklahoma. We were in kind of like one of the down suburbs or towns, whatever.
But to have the opportunity again to be able to have another home, and and for it to the equity in the home to be ridiculous right now, again because of just the housing market. Having a highway come in, it's just like
buying right,
buying in the right area at the right time. That definitely, as assets sits, that puts us in a very great position.
Then we see Tiana getting her award again. There's more conversation. So there's a lot of conversations leading up to this big conversation at the end.
Correct.
So the ladies all do kind of come to dinner.
And they decide to come. All with their own purpose in mind. Some to hear out, some to put on boxing gloves. So we get there.
And Robin shows up. She's the last one to show up. Right. And so she's kind of like, hey, this is amazing. You ladies are here.
Yeah, beautiful.
Appreciate, Crystal getting you all here. And they're like, wait, aren't you the one that wanted us here? Isn't this like your meeting?
Right.
So she starts laying out at least the idea of let's see about building something. I think it was Tiana was like, hey, it might be a good thing.
Right. She got really excited.
She's like, let's write it down. Come with a plan. Write it down.
Write down what you're thinking.
Give me the vision. What are we talking about?
Right.
Kiana was like, time out.
Before we
get that,
you get really excited.
Well, you and I,
the two of us,
we have some things that I think are unfinished and undealt with.
Right.
And so, she explains why she felt the way she felt.
Right.
Robin then, basically is, to paraphrase, she's like, I apologize, but I also had these other things going on. And she starts kind of getting to the fact that what we can see is that maybe there were some mental health crisis issues going on, right?
But at the same time, she is a little dismissive as well.
True.
She was like, well, you're still holding this over my head. Why you still got this? Which could be valid questions.
Right.
But at the time when someone's bringing up, maybe it's more so to say, you know what? I really do want to apologize because of my actions, and it wasn't me. Right. Delivery is kind of like everything. It's all the way how you package it.
Yep.
how you put it in there and put a bow on it.
Yep.
And she was kind of just like slapping it back in her face.
Yep.
And she's like, whoa, 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 whoa. But like they said, we need to do this in private,
right,
and hash it out. She's like, I don't want you to be deflecting. She's like, well, I'm not deflecting,
right,
but I don't want you to minimize what I'm going. But that's what she's saying. Don't minimize how she felt. So it's just people really hearing each other out.
Yeah, because I mean, I get what Deanna's saying, but I also get that Robin is trying to say, I may have not been in my right mind at that time.
Right.
So it's not that that's an excuse,
right,
but it is a reason that provides some context.
Because it's not in my character. I think that's what she was trying to say.
Right.
It's really not in my character to really act that way. But I'm going to tell you why my character changed in that moment.
Right.
So, and she was like, okay, I'm willing to table it until we can private. Then sister girl beside
her. Yeah, because we think, okay, good. Now we can start talking about what's it going to look like. Kira like, nope, sorry. Hold my beer.
Right.
I got something.
Hold my beer.
Right? So Kira's like, talk to Robin, you and Crystal unfollowed me on Instagram at the same time a year ago, and I got issues with that.
What?
Wait, notice the blank stare.
Okay. Now, I understand we want everyone to follow us and to see what we're doing and cheer us on in our photos of success. I call them photos of success.
Instagram is only a snapshot of your life. It's not your full life.
It's not your full life. So
here's my other tip. Don't get jealous over somebody else's Instagram, because all they're showing is their Instagram highlights, especially when you're comparing it to your real life.
Right. And they didn't know each other. They weren't friends.
They never met.
They have never met. So it's like, okay, we have to realize we get caught up with this following thing. So you're here. She wants you to be a part of the team. So I would think, why wouldn't she? There's something that she thinks that you're doing well,
right, that
she heard of, that she doesn't have to be on Instagram to see it.
Right.
She sees by other actions you're doing in the real estate market and hearing about you.
Right.
To me, that's greater, and saying, oh, even though she ain't following me anymore, she still thinks I'm a great agent to bring me to the table. But that's kind of like over her head.
So, I mean, because here's the thing. Listen, I don't have a huge Instagram following. It's something I'm starting to focus back on, but I don't have a huge Instagram following. I can't tell you who followed and unfollowed me because I don't track that. I don't look to see that. On my Facebook, the only way I know you unfollowed me is that you now come back and ask me to be my friend. I'm not checking to see who's following versus unfollowing.
But I think what's been happening with her is that it sounds like she's been getting maybe some shade from those who've been in the industry longer than her. And maybe she's projecting that based off of people unfollowing her. And so she's like, older agents.
Yeah.
And then don't say older. When you mean older, you mean more seasoned or mature. I was like, okay, guys, y'all all look fabulous. So why are we worried about age? Because she was like, well, I could say all those things, but these people were older than me. Right. And so I think that could have been very quickly, like, because Robin was like, she went into algorithms, or am I saying that correctly?
Yeah.
And, it was just something strange. Instead of saying, you know what, I'm just not interested in seeing you in a bathing suit. Because Robin was like, well, you were so cute and you were in a bathing suit.
That was Crystal that was saying that.
Crystal saying that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't follow a lot of women that's all they pose in.
Right.
Because that's not my interest.
Right.
So I'm not going to follow that.
Right.
And so it sounds like, because she even mentioned it herself,
first episode,
that she was in a lot of photos that was posing different ways, but yet she was still talking about real estate.
But still, we're talking about Instagram, y'all.
I know.
We're talking Instagram.
But people be fighting over Instagram all the time about, ain't following me, I ain't gonna follow you.
We're talking Instagram, y'all.
Excuse me.
So that, and so then Crystal again interjecting, throwing in her favorite word that she was triggered, right? That she was talking about Robin's trigger.
You treated Robin.
And so again, it felt like, and I think someone kind of said this, it was almost like Robin was on an island by herself, getting attacked, because for
that was Tiana
and Tiffany, they don't necessarily have that much interaction and know her well. Who is it? Tiffany, because of her experience, her own experience with anxiety and things of that nature, at least has that she can kind of at least may have been a person feeling for Robin.
Correct.
But no one was really having Robin's back because Crystal was interject. The vibe I got from Crystal and Robin was, you know how you have that one friend, I don't have them, but you have that one friend that you know that they are that something could set them off, and so you try and shield as much as possible, but you over shield. And so she's over shielding for Robin, right? Let Robin have the conversation. If Robin gets excited, gets lit, whatever, then Robin's going to do that, and you can try and calm her down from there. But it does not help her to constantly interject and not allow the conversation to happen, because it's a conversation that needed to happen.
Right.
But if you're only telling Robin to be quiet and you're not telling Kira or Kiana to be respectful as well, then yeah, we got issues.
And again, when she was talking to her, let her say her piece. And like she was saying, Robin was saying, "You're not on my side." She just said she was going to, flip this on her. So he's like, "You're not even addressing that."
Right.
So whose side are you on? You're the one that's supposed to be on my side tonight to help me try to gather these women together. And I'm not getting any support.
Right. I think Crystal, in some respects, I think Crystal may have been trying to be the mouthpiece for Robin, but instead she was the muzzle for Robin, which only served to irritate Robin even more.
That's good.
If she had been the person that, because sometimes I think a lot of what was happening there was that there was just a miscommunication happening, that they were saying things that no one was listening to each other. Right? So if Crystal had kind of interjected and said, "You know what, Robin," or basically said to like Kiana, this is, I can tell you as her friend, it was never anything necessarily against you. There's some other things going on.
Right.
You all need to talk about that and be good.
Right.
Kira, listen.
Kira, hold on. You need to be respectful.
Be respectful. We talking about Instagram. And let me tell you my part. Because you put both of us in while Robin, Then I think that would have been better. But Crystal just constantly kept interjecting. And
Crystal was not a referee. She didn't know how to referee.
No.
Because you got to know when to stop, know when to break it up,
yep,
when to let it go on.
Yep.
And she did horrible.
Yep.
And just telling somebody, you're triggered. If it's not working, it's not working.
Right.
Don't be saying, I normally can calm her down like you're some tamer of an animal.
And Robin should not have slapped at Crystal's hand, right?
No, she shouldn't, because Robin about to fight her. And all the other women start backing up, like, let me give you some space.
Tiffany was like, let me go ahead and go over this way.
Because I don't want no hands coming my way.
Pull Robin back.
Okay.
So that's the first 2 episodes. Like I said, we just started watching this show. Of course, it just came out, but we just started watching. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Let us know what you missed, and definitely come back, because we're going to be reviewing this show, giving our commentary for this season, see how it goes. All right?
All right.
That's all for this time. Have a great one. Be blessed. We'll see you next time.